All right, so I'm gonna be working on this magic wand again. Uh, Getting pretty close with the rough shaping. The idea is I want to slim that shaft down to match the antler all the way down, and maybe to a taper. We'll see, but I don't want to go too thin around the antler to start with, um, because I am still using the antler to kind of hold it steady as I'm running the box planer. Um, so I don't want to thin that wall down and have the antler bust out of it. So I'm going to take more of the material out of the middle towards the front first, and this spot back by the antler will be the last part I do as far as rough shaping, and then I'll switch to sanding. It's actually really nice out tonight, low to mid 60s. Um, it's kind of chilly last night. I was out here. Maybe it was the night before last. Night before last? Anyway, yeah, we got warmer weather coming. I think you're talking about like upper 70s tomorrow, but a little bit windy. 70s into the 80s next few days, but rain. Call for rain. I don't think it's supposed to rain tomorrow, just windy. So, yeah, I don't really need this jacket, but what I had noticed was when I was shaving the wood shaft down with the box planer, when I had my jacket open or when it was warmer and I wasn't wearing a jacket at all the wood shavings would lay in the hood or the pocket of my hoodie. So, and they're like curled shaved wood filings, and they get all tied up with the matted inside texture of the hood pocket, and it's a pain to get out. So, I don't want to do that. So even though it's warm enough that I don't need the jacket, I'm wearing it to keep the shavings out of my hoodie pocket. Shoo. Got a little spider friend while we're streaming. That's cool. I'm streaming from my phone. That's my old phone, but it's not like connected to service. Still can hook up through Wi-Fi, so I can post videos or whatever. But it's memory's mostly full. Memory's mostly full on my new phone. I just take so many videos and pictures. It really doesn't take that long to fill them up. They're both 256 gig. The one on the table is an iPhone 8 that I got to replace my old phone that I thought was an iPhone 8, but it was actually an iPhone SE. So it was lacking some features, and some of the things weren't quite as good. So I got the phone I'm streaming on right now, which is an iPhone SE 256, to replace the one that I lost, which was an iPhone SE 64 gig. So I record so much all the time, several times daily. Uh, Anytime I come across something that I think's neat and worth sharing, which is quite often actually, so it doesn't take me very long to fill up my phones. So I really need to get in the habit of dumping my pictures and videos onto either my computer or flash drive or both. Um, so I can free up space to do more stuff with, because I do have stuff in mind that I would like to record uh, longer stuff and then edit it down. So I just don't have enough space to record very much at once without dumping some of this stuff. So I need to get in the habit of doing that. Yeah, I still haven't figured out the live chat. Um, I had streamed I had a fire pit going in the backyard. That was the first time I think I'd ever had anybody actually show up while I was in the middle of streaming. Um, and I would see the chat, but I wouldn't catch it until it was about to, till as it was like disappearing. I guess they only kind of pop on screen for so long. And the kind of stuff I was doing was stuff that I wasn't like, didn't have my full attention on my camera because I was in the middle of doing something. So I just kind of like let it run more for the VOD than interacting with people, though. I'd like to, assuming people show up. Certainly appreciate y'all taking the time, but um, I haven't gotten the hang of seeing that, so I'm not really sure how that works. And hopefully we'll get there moving forward. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So, yes, I've noticed the trend. I'll see someone pop up on the counter as being here, and I'll say what's up, and then they'll leave. Is it best that I don't acknowledge them and just let them live chat if they wish? I feel like I'm scaring them off. I suppose I've never been much of a conversationalist. Um, perhaps not. Perhaps not the worst storyteller, but most of the time I'm just talking to myself. I don't know if y'all can hear the peeper frogs in the distance, but I always like to hear them in the spring. It's like similar to the sound of skipping a stone on thin ice. It's like laser beams almost. There's a retention pond right down the street that I went and recorded probably a few weeks ago, and there was peeper frogs and bullfrogs, and I think another kind of frogs in there. I just went to record the sounds. You couldn't see anything; it was dark. But I guess the pond might have dried up. I'm not really sure, but I haven't heard them. They all moved to the marsh, which is not far. We're like right on the river here, so there's a lot of wetlands. The whole state's full of wetlands. Um, but yeah, there's lots of wildlife critters around here. I like it around here. Um, this is where I'm from originally, where I was born and lived most of my life, with brief exceptions. I was in the Navy for a bit, and I lived down in Florida for a bit as a civilian. Um, but most of my life I spent here, and um, I like it. It's close to the coast, close to the water. There's not really any animals on land that'll kill you, as far as like venomous snakes. If we have them, they're very few and far between. If we have them at all, there's no bears. Um, there's a few like venomous spiders, or you know, you get hurt but likely not killed, uh, except for things that are in the ocean. But even that's probably like a rare occurrence. I don't know if there's ever been one in this state. I mean, I guess there's stingrays and stuff, but um, I mean that's nice. You don't have to go far to find those things, but not in this state. Uh, I mean, even coyotes are like a rare sight. Though I know they do exist, and not that they're inclined to attack you. I mean, I guess you could get rabies from anything, really, anything warm blooded. But I'm sure that's a rare occurrence as well. Though I have personally had to get rabies shots before. Well, I don't know if I had to, but I was at Wawa and got bit by a dog. It was my fault. It was like smiling and wagging its tail, and I reached out to pet it, and it bit me. So I should have known better. I was a full grown adult. I should have known better. So I went in to wash my hand and came out, and the girl who owned it took off. So I had no way of verifying whether or not it had had its shots, and I'd be willing to guess it probably hadn't. And I really wasn't that worried about it anyway. I mean, it was like there were punctures, but not like deep punctures. But my roommate's girlfriend at the time was a nurse, and she suggested that I probably should go get rabies shots just because I didn't know, and it would either be I could go get shots and not really need them, or not get them and possibly die. So, as much as I avoid medical treatment, mainstream medical treatment and doctors and medicine when I can, uh, it seemed like the reasonable decision to make, and I don't regret it, even though I think it ended up costing me like nearly $1,000. Um, I remember I went to the hospital. I don't think it was the first time. I think it was the second time. So I went there for a series of shots, and you gotta come back another time or maybe two more times. I don't really remember. This was probably like 15 plus years ago. But I remember the second time I came back, and this dude was giving me a hard time because I was in my work truck in uniform. So I parked in the parking lot for the emergency room, and he was like, "Hey, are you here for treatment or like for work?" And I said, "I'm here for treatment." And he said, "Because you can't park here. This is for patient parking only." I said, "I'm here for as a patient, you know. And he was really getting on my nerves, and I was like, I mean, I'm not like threatening to take, but like if it came to it, I guess getting your ass beat in the parking lot of a hospital is probably the best place it could happen. You know what I mean? So like, uh, but yeah. Anyway, I went inside and I was checking in, and the nurse said she thought she recognized me, and I said, "Yeah, I'm here for my second round of rabies shots. Uh, I saw you last time." And she said, "Oh yeah." I said, "You saw my butt." She said, "Yes, I did." So yeah, I think I got all the shots in the side of my butt, both, or I might have had to go back 3 times. It was unpleasant, but probably not something worth the risk. I mean, I've heard stories of people not only dying from rabies, but dying from rabies and having their organs donated into other people who also died of rabies. So it's not something to play around with. Uh, and I'm often outside messing with roadkill and wildlife and stuff. So it's like keep your wits about you, make safe and smart decisions within reason. I mean, there's always like inherent risk involved in like anything that you do, but try to be mindful and cautious and safe and smart. I guess I often, I guess I often disregard recommendations though, because like there's this local freshwater lake beach that I like to swim at in the summertime, and they test the water weekly for high counts of bacteria, specifically like fecal bacteria. I mean, I don't know if it's like from the ducks and geese or like I think it's a little more like people, like whatever washes out of the people's leach fields that are septic tanks or whatever. I mean, in addition to the geese and ducks and fish that poop in the water, but if we have a period of heavy rains or a period of high heat, you'll see like algae blooms, which are potentially unsafe to swim in. So they test the water weekly and they put out a report based on whatever the findings are. And if it does fail, they they close the beach. They put out an advisory, but it's still like you can still go there. They're just like kind of like swim at your own risk. And I don't really pay much attention to it. I just, I mean, I don't know how smart that is. It's like if I see the algae blooms or like start to see like fish and snails dying, I kind of hold off a bit. But it's usually pretty nice there. It's still early yet. Like I don't think it'll be like suitable for swimming until like probably June at least. Though, uh, the weather forecast even this week is supposed to get into the 80s. It's not going to be warm enough to swim water temperature anyway because it's like been bouncing back and forth between like I don't know if it's gotten into the 30s, maybe upper 30s overnight. So water temperature is probably still pretty low. Um, I've got my thermostat in the house set to auto change over from heat to cool. So it's like if it gets above If it gets above 76 in there, the AC will come on. If it gets below 73, the heat will come on. And that's worked out because it's like if it's, I think it, I don't, it was probably in the 70s today because it's still like mid to low 60s now. So I think it was in the 70s today, just probably lower 70s, but breezy. So yeah, I know for sure the air kicked on today. Probably late afternoon. I'm gonna run grab a drink. I'll be back. Do you hear that killdeer? There are several in the neighborhood. You hear them from time to time. More inclined to hear them than see them. Um, Usually every summer we got barn swallows build a nest on our porch, usually right up there. Last year we didn't have any. They tried to build them over one of these other columns at the top of the porch, but it was so hot and dry that I guess the mud didn't stick and it ended up falling. So we didn't have any last year, unfortunately. But it's always nice to hear them chirping in the morning. First thing, you know, break of dawn. Um, I hear birds out my window every morning. I think it was robins this morning, but I'm not 100%. I know a few bird calls, but some of them more distinct than others. But I think what I heard today was robins. We have mockingbirds around too. I always like to hear them. They do that cycle, like the car alarms from the '90s, like a '93 Acura Legend. I think that's cool. Like I don't even think modern car alarms still make that sound, but they like just cycle through all the sounds of like car alarms from the '90s, and it's like you don't know where they get it or how they pass it on or what. It's just kind of neat. I mean, I guess there are still older cars on the road. They probably still have the old alarm systems. So I guess maybe not as prevalent as they once were, but there are still some in existence for the birds to hear them. I can't help but think that there was a better way to do this. Um, though we're getting there, and it is turning out, and it's going to turn out well for sure. Um, I just feel like we took the long way to get here, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, like I said before, they've got small lathes at Harbor Freight. Would have made pretty short work of this, but it kind of diminishes the human element of it all, you know? Or at least that's how I see it. If I was like trying to mass produce them for sale, maybe something like a small lathe would make sense. But if I'm just making these for me or for gifts for friends or whatever, I'd kind of prefer, the effort that I put into it to make it by hand. I still haven't fully shaved that split out of it, but down to where the wood glue is filling it up, which I guess is good enough. But if I can get it out, I would rather. Be right back. Getting really close. We're much closer, but I feel like if I want this glue joint to hold where the antler meets the wood, I really need to shave as much weight as reasonably possible. So yeah, if I get it close enough with the box planer to where I can finish it with sandpaper, that would be preferable. I think I'm getting pretty close. So I don't quite have the shaft down to the same diameter as the antler. It might be close enough. I think I probably could glue the antler in place without risk of issue moving forward. Be right back. All right, so I got it glued and I got that rubber band to hold tension on it. I guess we'll just let it sit overnight. All right, I guess that's good enough for tonight. Uh, Certainly making progress. I think that rubber band will hold enough tension on that to get it properly set with the wood glue. And I think I got enough of the rough shaping done that I shouldn't vibrate that antler loose again. But we'll see. Um, the tip's a little marred up from where I put it in the drill, but that worked pretty well to sand off the roughness from the box planer. So kind of playing it by ear, um, but I'm happy with how it's looking. So leave that set overnight, maybe 24 hours at least. and then take it from there. So, if you stop by, thanks for stopping by. If you didn't, maybe I'll catch you next time. Appreciate y'all. That's about it. Have a good night.